we're going to try to release the dog over the jump when they're focused and calm. Okay? So we need to learn to notice when the dog is too high. Okay? So I want them to get into position. Now, I want there to be no fight in getting your dog into a position. If you have to grab their back end and pull them this way, if you need to push on them to tell them to sit, if you need to pull up on the leash, what are they already telling you? Are you on the same page or no? You need to get them on the same page with the dog before you even think about starting. This is the part people skip, and this is why when we release, we have no idea that the dog is planning to do a whole bunch of stuff by themselves. Or they're frustrated with you before you start, and therefore their resilience is a little bit less. Make sense? Okay, so I want you to get the dog into position. I don't care left or right. We'll do both sides. And because you can go down, release the dog, get the back set up, come back. But I want you to get into a routine of how do you get the dog into position without them going too high on you. Okay, so how do you want to take the leash off? How do you get them into position? What's some things that make them calmer? One of the things that I find makes a big difference is just how tense I am. And remember, if you're leaning down like this, they're probably going to feel pressure, and that will make some dogs come up. Okay? When you lead out, I like to keep connection. If I stare at my dog, it brings him higher. I know it does. So I make sure I can see him, because if he even thinks about moving, I'm going to correct the thought. He even goes, I think, no, you're not. And how am I going to correct that? Yeah, I'm going to turn in on him, I'm going to lean forward and put pressure on him. Hey, don't even think about stuff like that. Okay? So if they break and take the first jump, you weren't paying attention. Because that means that they thought about getting up, they got up, they moved, and then they got to the jump, and you didn't notice any of that. Make sense? So you don't need to stare at them when you walk out with him. I just kind of keep loose connection. So notice how my head is fairly straight, not completely straight so that I can't see him. But I'm not doing this. I do that and I'm small. You can do that if your dog is taller, rule that. Mine just, because I'm staring at him, and therefore he's kind of building up, building up. The other one is keeping your shoulders soft, because a lot of us walk out tensely. Especially if we don't think they're going to stay. Stay. You see how much tension is through here? Right? Wait. So this would be my start line of ice. He comes in. Back. Back. Good. That's it. Good. I wait till he looks, because if he can't look at me, we can't go. Well, he's got to look at me for about 3 seconds. Leash comes off, right? Comes up. Good. Sit. Good. 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 Good job. You notice how relaxed I am walking out, right? It is not like what I did with the Need for Speed where we're like, sit, sit, sit. If I do that, I'm going to hand him up, because I'm creating anticipation, right? So when I walk out, I'm walking out like I'll bet $100 he's going to sit there, whether he's going to or not, right? Because if you show tension, you're going to make them more tense. We bring them higher, there's less likely they're going to stay there. Make sense? If I think he's going to, let's say he goes to put a foot forward, back, goes to take a foot back. You see how I relax it before I keep moving out? What we do is we do this, and then we hold it. Pressure, pressure. So when the dog's doing the right thing, we're creating a lot of pressure, right? Which makes them uncomfortable. That's why it works. So now they get to a point of being uncomfortable, now they're stressed, now they stress high, they're going to break because they don't want to be held there. Sense? So these are all the things you were telling your dog without realizing that you're telling your dog, right? So your body language says 10 times more than the fact that you're saying sit or stay. Okay? So it's not a matter of repeating. I don't care what you really say verbally to them. You can say what you want to there. But I do want to make sure that your body language is supporting. If you want calm, what do you need to be? Calm. If you want him to understand that what he just did was not a good thing, put pressure on him. When he's doing the right thing, what do you need to do? Take it off. That's the number one thing I have to remind people is that they put pressure on it, but they never let go of it. So they push on it, don't you do that, and then they hold it. Stay, 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 stay. The dog goes. Right? So when you correct, because really all I'm doing is shaping, but I'm shaping with that pressure. So my dog goes. He does that. That's when I'm just going to go, okay, good. I'll resume my lead out. Right? We're that much closer to getting to do the jump, which is valuable to him. Right? He'd rather take the jump than take food. I can put food in front of him, and if I release him, he'll take the jump and take it in front of his nose. sit stay, that's perfectly fine. If you want to go back and reward the dog for the start line and stay, that's fine. Make sure it's not completely predictable. A lot of people always reward the first one. So the dog knows that the first one's going to get rewarded. So therefore, when you don't reward it, they go, new game. Right? So make sure that you mix it up a little bit. All right, any questions on doing the start line part? No?